Hey, Mina. Thanks for coming. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Elizabeth. This isn't like Zoom, so I know I can't see your faces and we can't talk back and forth, but I see you're on here and I'm glad to have you. We'll get started in just a minute or two. And we'll use this chat a lot throughout the webinar, so please keep that open. That's how you can communicate questions to me throughout this little mini webinar we're going to do together. How is sound for you and visual? Is everything okay? Awesome. Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate that. If it starts to give any feedback or if, shadows or anything like that, let me know. Because again, I'm just going to keep my eye on our chat. So I appreciate that. So as you come into our webinar, please just let me know you're here by sending me a quick hello in the chat. That would be great. Just give a little bit more time for everybody to get on. Hi, Tyler. Thanks for signing in. And Jill, happy day after your birthday. I hope you had fun yesterday, even though you're in quarantine. Thanks to have you. Great to have you on here. Thanks for being a part of this. Yeah, Mina and Jill know each other. There you go. There's some connections. And I will say this is my first webinar using this platform of Webinar Ninja, so I'm learning it a little bit. So that email that you got that probably threw you off was a little confusing, so I apologize for that. I'm working through the kinks, but I'm hoping we don't have any issues during the broadcast here now. Hey, Jessica, thanks for coming. Great to have you. So it is 1:31, and I've allotted 30 minutes for this, and I really want to be just cognizant of everyone's time. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And what I would say is please use that chat box, throw out questions as we're going. I will try to answer them as we go through the material, but I also want to get through all the material. But if you have a question, put it in there because I will save all those comments and follow up with you. So again, welcome everyone to my webinar, How to Prepare Your Home for Sale. Just the first quick question that I'll throw out there is just what is a topic you would like me to address during this webinar? So real quick in the chat bar, if you could just type in there, what is something specific that you're really hoping that I will address during this 30-minute webinar? And go ahead and put those in that chat box so I have them. And then I'm going to go through the material and then hope to catch that as well. Again, thank you for taking the time to vote for this topic and then for attending. I really, really appreciate it. My hope is to give you lots of practical tips and advice for preparing your home for sale, whether you're considering that now or 5 to 10 years from now. Hopefully this will still be relevant information to you. And then again, I'll follow up with you if I can't get to all of your questions. I see Allison's on here. Thanks for coming. One question already asked is what's most important to add value to your home? So we'll definitely talk about that. Renovations that make you the most money from Mina. We'll definitely talk about that one. Again, Jill asked the same question. What renovations updates should you do before you try to sell or any at all? So we'll talk about that, but it sounds like that might be a big topic. So please continue to ask questions as we get to that. Again, my goal in this webinar is to share with you how to prepare your home for sale, but 2 things I want to accomplish in the sale. How to sell your house for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And those things correlate to one another. So I hope to give you practical tips for that. So let's get started. Just so I have an idea of who my audience is, which I know most of you and already know this answer, but would like to ask it anyway. Have never sold a home. So if you've never sold a home, just type in never. So I know my audience that would be first-time home sellers. Never, never, never. Okay, awesome. Because you guys are all first-time home buyers with me. Awesome. Okay, so far, never. No one's ever sold a home. So this will be really relevant information for you. Okay, then for the others, how many are considering selling in the next 6 to 12 months? And you can type that in soon. You can just write the word soon, and I'll know that 6 to 12 months you would consider possibly selling. You could just type soon, okay? Thanks. Good to see you on here, Ellen, as well. Lauren, Emily. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it just gives me an idea of the audience I'm speaking to. Again, I'm not committing you to anything. Awesome. Good to see you, Heather. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so let's start with number one. And this might come as a surprise, but we want to make a buyer fall in love. That is my goal. And that's our strategy when preparing your home for sale. So a buyer walks into a home and they want to have a feeling evoked in them when they walk through that front door. And so most buyers won't fall in love with more than one home. It's one home they fall in love with, and they're usually willing to fight for it. So I just want you to know that when we're preparing your home for sale, that's what's in the back of my mind is how do we evoke a feeling of love for a buyer? A buyer that's in love with a home is willing to pay full price or oftentimes more. Has anyone, and this is a question for everyone, you can type in the chat, has anyone walked into a home and knew it was the one per se? If yes, type that in the column, the chat column. Yes, Jill walked in, knew it was the one. Emily did, Allison did. Anybody else walk into a house and knew it was the house? Jason, awesome. Adrian, because I see that all the time. Hey, Jill, good to have you on here. That buyers, they don't walk into multiple homes and think, yeah, I like that one. I like this one too, and that one. It's like, no, that one doesn't work. And they have a love. And we always say it's the twinkle in their eye. When we see the twinkle, we know it's time to write an offer. So that's what we want to do for our buyers. All right, let's move on just so you get this concept. The second thing we want to accomplish is pricing your home right. And I know you know this, but there is a strategy in pricing your home. You don't want to overprice your home. It's okay to be aggressive as long as you've done your preparation. But if you overprice your home, by the time you adjust, buyers will have moved on. And I know you've even thought this. When a home's on the market in our area, more than a week, 2 at most, you're going to ask the same question. What's wrong with it? And so we don't want people to ask that of your home when it comes time to sell. And we'll help determine the value of your home by looking at comparable homes that have sold recently in your neighborhood. So the value of your home is generally determined by what you're willing to sell it for and what a buyer's willing to pay for it in the current market. So those are the 2 factors that we play into pretty much a fair market value assessment for your home. So I'll help you with that. Okay, question for you. Go ahead and type it in the chat bar. What do you think the benefit of getting multiple offers is for you, a seller? What's the benefit of multiple offers? What would you say? Does that feel like a trick question? Leverage. Thanks, Sam. Yes, absolutely. No question mark needed. Yes, if you have multiple offers, you have leverage. More likely for the sale to go through? Yes. Thanks, Heather. Exactly. And what I would say is what happens to the price when you get multiple offers? It goes up. Same, just like on eBay. When people start bidding, the price goes up. And so again, that's why it's so important to price your house right. Still okay to be on the upper end, but price it according to comparable sales so that we have data to support it, get buyers in there to write offers, and then you're choosing who you want to work with. So great answers. Thank you for that. But mainly it's for you to get a higher price for your home. All right, moving on. Here's the one that it sounds like most of you have signed up for. We'll talk a little bit about it, but I'd love to talk more, and we could even do a follow-up webinar about this. Spend money on the most strategic improvements. So my question to you, go ahead and get ready to type this in. What 2 rooms do you think have the highest ROI, return on investment, for improvements? Go ahead, type it in the chat bar. Don't worry what anybody else is thinking. Kitchen, 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 bath, kitchen, kitchen, master. Perfect. You got it. Those are the 2 rooms, the kitchen and the master bath specifically. Those are the 2 places you are going to find the highest ROI. So if you're ever thinking about spending money, those are the 2 places that it's not spent frivolously. That is going to give you the highest chance of selling for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. So the biggest question my sellers ask, but we're concerned that we're not going to put in the right upgrades, or how do you know what buyers specifically want, or colors, those types of things. Don't worry about that. We can help with that. We know what buyers want from working with hundreds of buyers, and we also watch HGTV, and that's what really buyers are looking for. So keep that in mind, that we know what buyers are willing to pay more for. But specifically, kitchen, you guys know this, countertops, tile backsplash, stainless steel appliances, painted cabinets, updated hardware. You guys already know that. But those are the things that give you the highest ROI. And then in bathrooms, same, countertops, updated faucets, painted vanities, updated hardware, new lights and mirrors. Those types of things are what buyers, they walk in and they fall in love over. So those are the places you want to spend your money and enjoy it. So if you're not thinking about selling for the next 1, 2, 5 years, enjoy it, put it in and enjoy it. But I will say that trends do change about every 10 years. So keep that in mind. If you updated a home 10 years ago, you may need to do it again to get an ROI. So again, keeping with the current trends, we can help you with all of that. Don't worry about picking out specific countertops, paint colors, tile. We can do all of that for you to make sure that we get what a buyer is going to pay the most for. All right, let's move on. Number 4, take care of deferred maintenance. And this is the thing that a lot of my homeowners forget about. They don't realize when they sign up for home ownership what they have to do to maintain the integrity and value of their home. So this might, if you don't have a pen already, get it out to maybe make some to-dos for later today. But these are the items that you're not specifically going to get an ROI, return on investment on, but they are things that help keep your value of your home. And these are maintaining your HVAC system, having it serviced twice a year, making sure it's running efficiently, and then check your crawl space if you have one on a regular basis, or send your husband in to look for standing water or evidence of moisture. Those are things that come up on inspections all the time, and you can be ahead of it by taking care of it early. Having a roofer on speed dial, just to have them come out on a regular basis and check your roof and your shingles. Have a termite treatment plan on your house. North Carolina is a place where you either have termites or will have termites. So you want to make sure you're protecting your home. And then if you have a home with masonite siding, which a lot of us do, you want to have somebody coming out to take a look at the boards to see if they need to be replaced or painted, and then keeping up with power washing. All of those things can help. So if you need a vendor to any one of these type of deferred maintenance type of projects, please put that in the chat bar. I'll follow up with you after the webinar. But again, roofer, painters, plumbers, electricians, type it in the chat bar. Just say, would love a referral to X, and I'll follow up and give that to you later. All right. Adrienne said this in her comment, and this is number 5, pay attention to details. And again, you look at your home every day, so you may not notice these details. Again, why we come in and take a look with a fine-tooth comb. But this is the dusty baseboards that we're going to ask that are either cleaned, or maybe they need a fresh coat of paint. The burnout light bulbs, even check the base of your toilet, the ring, the seal around the toilet, or even just the smell in the house. What did you cook last night? And then pets and their whatever it is that they might leave behind in a home. So those type of details are what buyers are looking at, because they can see that with their eyes. And if they see that the house doesn't look like it's been well maintained, just from an easy visual perspective, they start to wonder about the integrity of the things they can't see: roof, HVAC system, crawl space. So the meticulousness of how well a home's condition looks on a showing will definitely help the buyer's confidence in thinking that the rest of the home has been well maintained. And those are things that real estate agents point out during showings, how well a home has been kept. So that's a detail that you guys can pay attention to. All right, number 6, focus on curb appeal. You guys have heard that, you know that, but what do we mean by this? What I would say here is giving the buyer the invitation to walk into the front door. Is your curb appeal welcoming them in? And this can be done through fresh mulch, flowers, fresh paint, and even current color for shutters. Sometimes our shutter colors are 10 years old and we need to have them changed to the current trends. So keep that in mind. And then similar to inside the house, we want to remove clutter. So outside, if there's lots of toys, garden tools, basketball hoops, trampolines, all those types of things start to clutter the outdoor space. So we would say remove those because we want the buyer to look at the front door and be beckoned in. So that is really important. Here's a question. You can type in the sidebar. Can't wait to hear your responses. What do you do if your neighbor has bad curb appeal? So hypothetically, you have a neighbor who's got junky cars parked in their driveway. They have tall grass they haven't mowed in 3 months, or their house needs power washing. What do you do when we're talking about listing your home in the next couple of weeks? What do we do? Pray for their souls. Thank you, Mina. Yes, somebody is asking, please tell me this. It sounds like you might have a neighbor that's like that. Graciously ask them to help. Yes, these are all good answers. I will tell you from an actual story. I had a great house. We're getting ready to list it, but the neighbor like collected cars. And I think they worked on them, but they all looked like junk cars. So it was like 4, 5, 6 of them just lining the driveway. And we thought this is going to decrease the value of their home, potentially probably about 10 grand, we thought, because it looked like you were pulling into a junkyard almost, and their houses were pretty close together. So we asked them if they'd be willing to move the cars or remove them for a weekend. We were going to put the house on the market on a Friday, have it sold by a Sunday. We were very confident in that. And so they went over probably with some cookies and said, would you be willing to do this? But then you have to tell them how it benefits them, right? So you could just say, I know you really like working on these cars, or I know you haven't had time to mow your grass. We'll do it for you, but we're getting ready to list our home this weekend. And we know that if we sell our house for top dollar, it'll help you and your home's value. So I just wanted to see if you'd be willing to help us out. So hopefully that's helpful to you, but definitely offering to pay for it. I've had a seller pay for their neighbor's house to be power washed because it looked so bad. And again, those are things that we tell our buyers before we even schedule a showing. Drive by the house to make sure you not only like the house and the lot and the neighborhood, but that you don't mind the neighbors beside it. So those are selling features. And if those neighbors are kind of a deal killer for you, we won't even get a buyer in your home. So definitely, if you don't have a relationship with your neighbors, start it now so you can start working towards that type of an ask for them. But remember, keep in mind that there's value to them, that it would help with their value for their home. All right, number 7, work with a stager. Have the home professionally staged. And I don't want you to think you have to go and find one. Specifically, if you work with our team, we have a staging team that's going to come alongside us through this process. So I'll help you with that. And a lot of times people think that I'm asking them to spend thousands of dollars on professional staging furniture to come into their home. And 9 times out of 10, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm specifically talking about accessories that will accentuate the best features of your home. So it's very minimal, but it definitely takes a home to a neutral palette that is appealing to the masses, which is our goal. And this helps a home feel like a model home. That's why they stage beautiful model homes and why buyers fall in love with those. So again, this is part of our listing preparation process that includes a consultation with our stager. All right, next question. Go ahead and type it in the sidebar. Do you think homes sell for more money if they are empty, no one lives there, or occupied, a family or a couple lives there? So you could write occupied or empty. Okay, I've got 3 for occupied. Anybody else? I really want to see the poll on this. Depends, okay? Some truth to that. Overall rule of thumb, do you think I go into homes and ask that they vacate the property or occupy it? Okay, mixed bag. All right, I love it. So let me see what you think of this. Statistically speaking, vacant homes, so empty homes, sell for 2 to 10% more than homes that are currently lived in. So many of my sellers are shocked by that and even need me to continue talking about it. I know, isn't that wow, Lauren? I agree. So a lot of traditional real estate would tell you, no, buyers need to see the space with your furniture. They don't, because they don't like your furniture. I don't mean that in a rude way, but the likelihood of them liking your specific taste is unlikely. So we want to eliminate that obstacle by making the house as neutral and an empty space for them to envision themselves there. But again, that's where staging comes in. We don't want it to be so blank of a canvas that they can't visualize themselves at all, but we want it to be neutral enough that they're not distracted by your specific taste. Unfortunately, our furniture is usually a lower standard or price point than the house that it's in. So, and that might not be the case for you, but the vast majority of homes that I walk into, their furniture is one price point down. And so it doesn't add value, it only detracts value. So we often say, if it is possible, and it's not for everybody, if it is, to move out. If not, we will make do with what you have, but we're going to have to start eliminating some things from the house because most of the time we live there in a functional space, but we need to make it look, again, like a model home, and nobody lives like a model home. So I know that would surprise you, but I hope now you can even start preparing for that. And that's why some of our families who cannot move out, they will go away for the weekend. So they will pack up a lot of their things, go away for the weekend, and give us full access to the home. That helps. But again, in a perfect world, if you completely moved out, that is ideal. All right, let's move on to number 9. We're moving through this. We want to show off square footage by minimizing furniture and clutter, which goes hand in hand with that vacant idea. You're selling square footage, and oftentimes our homes are stuffed to the gill. Can anybody agree with that? They've got too much stuff in a small space, and a buyer notices that. And so we want to make sure that the space feels as large, open, airy, light, bright as it can, and furniture tends to weigh it down and make it feel heavier, darker, and smaller. For example, in a guest bedroom, just like you would see in a model home, there's going to be a bed, 1 to 2 nightstands, maybe a dresser, but probably not. So that's what we would be looking for if the homeowner wanted to stay in the home during the time of the listing. So keep that in mind. We're showing off and selling square footage. So we want to minimize furniture and clutter. And again, we'll help you with that. We'll walk room by room through the house with you to let you know what pieces of furniture we would ask to be removed during the showing process. All right, number 10, accent your best features. For example, a lot of us have rugs all over our floors for functionality, but they cover up these beautiful hardwoods that we're trying to accent in the listing. So we will pick strategic rugs to remove, and you can, store those away. But for pictures and also for showings, we would ask you to remove a lot of those. For example, in the bathroom, all of those mats that you put down on the cold tile floor that are functional for living do not photograph well, and then they cover up the beautiful tile floor if you have tile. Again, same thing in the kitchen. We're going to ask you to remove probably 80% of what's on the kitchen counters because one, kitchen space and counter space is so important to buyers. And if they feel like yours are cluttered, they don't think that there's enough space for them to prep for cooking or to entertain. So again, we're going to make the house feel like a model home. So when you have the question, I wonder if we need to pack this up and store it, just think, would it be out in a model home? That'll be your gauge. All right. Here's a question. I'm ready for you to type in the chat bar. Do you think it is better to give an allowance for paint or carpet so the buyer can pick out what they want, or to go ahead and do it before you list your home? So you can either type allowance or do it. Allowance or go ahead and do it. Do you think it's better to give an allowance or go ahead and do it? Do it, do it, do it. Allowance, do it, do it. Question mark. Okay. So remember the first point that I gave you, which was to make a buyer fall in love. Do you think a buyer can fall in love with stained carpet and purple paint, red paint, green paint for all the different kids' favorite colors in the bedrooms? Do you think they can fall in love? It's really hard to fall in love with an allowance. So we tell people, don't offer an allowance. And that is probably one of the biggest myths in real estate. People think, well, we'll let them pick out what they want. We know what they want. We just watch HGTV, right? So put agreeable gray on the walls for now, and they'll love it. And then a fresh coat of paint, brand new carpet that makes it feel move-in ready. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing is, I show buyers homes all the time, and I say, this house has all the right things wrong with it. And do you know what those are? Paint and carpet. So I say to them, it's been on the market for 30 days because the paint is all the wrong colors and the carpet needs replaced. And every other buyer is thinking that's going to cost 10 grand and we could do it for 5 grand. So that's a great house for our buyers to offer on because they can affordably fix it and not be competing with other buyers. But for the seller, they miss out. And because I'm representing you in this case as a seller, I want to make sure you get the highest possible price for your home. And the way to do that is to make the house move-in ready and where a buyer can fall in love. I hope that that makes sense. I'm more than happy to talk more about that with you. But again, buyers are going to overestimate the cost of doing those things. So if we can do it with our affordable vendors before you list it, you'll be able to sell for more. Okay, just a couple more here. Dogs, cats, and pets have to be removed. I know I've just broken some of your hearts, but statistically speaking, 70% of homes with cats do not sell. 70%. And 30% of homes with dogs don't sell. Now, I have 2 dogs, and I will sell my house one day. There's a way around it. You don't have to go and get rid of your dog today, but think about it. When you're going into someone else's home to make it yours, you don't necessarily want what their dog has left over or their pets have left over or the smells associated with it, especially if there's allergies associated with it. And so our advice to all of our homeowners as they get ready to sell is to either remove all pet paraphernalia for showings, but that means dog bowls, dog food, leashes, beds, anything. So that's a little bit more challenging. Or to take advantage of a doggy daycare or a friend or family member that will take them for the short period that we're on the market. You can bring the dogs or pets back home after the home is under contract. And we would never lie to a buyer if they asked if there were pets in the home. But you know what's amazing? They never ask us because the home doesn't look or smell like a pet has been there. So that's really important. Number 13, get a storage unit. I would say 9 out of 10 of my sellers already have one or get one because we are asking you to remove so many items out of the home to make it feel like a model home again. So we're going to ask you to remove at least 50% of items out of closets because what do you think it advertises to your buyers if your closets are stuffed, packed to the gills? Does it advertise you don't have enough storage space? Right? We don't want to advertise that. It might be the truth. It might be why you're moving, but we don't need to advertise it. They'll figure that out. So make sure that you're getting a place to put those items. So then the next question my sellers ask me, well, can we just pack it in the garage, nicely stack it? Worst case scenario, yes. Best case scenario, no, because now again, you've advertised we don't have enough storage in the house and we don't even have an actual garage to park our car in. It's for storage. So again, you have to think about the messages you're sharing with your buyer by putting a whole bunch of storage packed out into the garage. So getting a short-term storage unit is definitely best if at all possible. We're going to ask you to live like you're on vacation and you'll only need a few items of clothing during the short time we're going to be on the market, and you're going to have to pack up anyway. So go ahead and do it before we list. All right, the last one is whether you're in our local market or not in our local market, I would encourage you to use a real estate agent that you like. That's important. You want to like the person you're working with, and then that you trust, that you think has your best interest in mind. And then that they have a track record of selling homes fast and for top dollar. And you might not know how to get that information. And so what I tell people all the time, whether they live here or not locally, is I say, when interviewing agents, ask them 3 questions. And I can send these to you if you are interested, but 3 questions. 1, how many homes have you sold in the past 12 months? Simple question, they should know that. So if you were asking me, I'd say last year I sold 72 homes. And then ask them, what is your average days on market? So when you list a home, how many days does it take for that home to get a contract? Mine last year was 5 days. You want to know that. How long are we going to be sitting on the market, keeping our house show ready to get a contract? So again, 72 homes, average days on market 5. You'll want to know that. And then third, what is your average list price to sales price ratio? So what you're asking there is, what do you actually sell your homes for? You told me we'd list it here, but we actually sold it here. That's kind of an important ratio to know. And interestingly enough, mine is 100.1%. So what that means is I'm often selling them for list price or higher. And again, those are stats that your agent should know who you're interviewing. So make sure you ask them those things. And if you ever have a question, if you're talking with a another agent locally or not in our area about their stats, I'm happy to share that with you. I have access to all of that, but also just to help you understand what those stats mean for you. So that's all of my material that I could get through in 30 fast minutes, but hopefully it was helpful to you. Now I want to give you a second and I can try to just answer any questions you have. So go ahead and put those in the chat for me. Questions you might have. And then the last question I have for you is, what topic would you like to hear next? And I'll give you 3 and you can just type A, B, or C, or you can give me a whole new topic to talk on. So the 3 that I came up with: A, how to work by referral; B, Myers-Briggs personality assessment, completely unrelated to real estate, but can apply it to professional or personal settings; and then C, top tips when buying a home. Those were the 3 topics that I came up with, A, B, C. If you'd like to hear any of those, you can vote. But if you have a completely different topic, please type that in as well. Good. I see C, top tips for buyers; B, Myers-Briggs. That would be a fun one. And then A, Brandon, good to see you. How to work by referral, all of those. I'm hoping to get to all of them, but want to know which ones would most interest you. Awesome. And so again, if you need to sign off, please do. I'm seeing a couple questions just about how COVID-19 is affecting the market. And of course, I want to answer that for you. So interestingly enough, I will tell you, our spring market is one of the busiest times of the year as we, lead into the summer market. And I would say that this year it's steady. It's not the busiest, but it's steady. So that is encouraging. We're definitely seeing buyers and sellers doing real estate transactions. We're just not seeing as much of it. However, I've written 3 offers for 3 different families over the last 3 days, and every single one of them was in multiple offers. So that tells you that buyers are still having to compete for homes. And the reason probably for that is that there's not enough inventory. There's not enough homes on the market, which could be great for you if you're thinking about selling in the next few months, or even now. Take advantage of the fact that there are buyers who need to buy, their lease is up. They've just relocated to the area or have needed, after being in quarantine, realize their home is too small and they need a bigger space. They're ready to buy now, but there's just not a lot of inventory. So I would definitely encourage you to think about that. And if you want to talk more, let me know. We'll set up a Zoom meeting. And then there was a question about refinancing. Great time to refinance. Interest rates are super low. I have a great contact for you that I can connect you with, Lauren. If anyone else has questions about that, let me know. But again, with COVID-19, we have to be a little bit more strategic about how we're showing homes. We're definitely having to adjust a little bit. So that means that we're doing a lot of virtual showings. I did a virtual showing for a buyer coming from California. He bought the house sight unseen just through a virtual showing. I did a Zoom video with him. And then, some people don't feel comfortable with buyers in their homes. So they're setting out, masks and gloves and sanitizing wipes. And so we're just being very cautious to not touch everything while we're in the home. So, working through all those types of things. But it's been amazing how many transactions have really transpired since even all of this has happened. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking about it, it may be one of the best times in the last decade to potentially buy, because of the interest rates and because of just, people's fear right now are keeping them out of the marketplace, which means more opportunity for you. So again, I want to talk with you about that if you're interested or have questions. But that is it. I think, how long should you plan to stay in your home if you refi? That's a good question, Jill, that I would ask the lender I can refer you to, or if you have a lender that you trust, they would be able to answer that a little bit more strategically than I would. So I'll let them do that. But again, I can connect you to mine. But again, I want to thank everyone for participating in this. I really hope to do more of these and have you be a part of it. So I really appreciate your participation and your questions. It was really great. So have a great day, and I'll follow up with each of you. See you soon.